So this lends us into risk assessment and quality assurance. And often when you have a project which is implementing SAP, you've got a risk management team and you've got a quality assurance team. And these are two separate disciplines which sit inside the enterprise. If the enterprise is large and you've got the resources to have these teams, it's great. But often, as we've seen, when you're dealing with an SAP program, sometimes these teams also may not have the understanding and the knowledge that an SAP implementation team has. And so there may be generic quality assurance or generic risk assessment teams. And so when you're looking at risk assessment and quality assurance, it's rather seen as a little bit of a boring subject with not much innovation and not much excitement, but we beg to differ. You'll see this risk matrix in a number of places, and it's not uncommon to see them like this. And in fact, you might see a different version of this with low, medium, high. But instead of using low, medium, high classifications, we suggest and promote that you use numerical values because, for example, a numerical value of 3.8 is vastly different to a numerical value of 6.2. But the reason why we're calling it out in the webinar today is that we have moved so far and we have innovated so much in the last, say, 5 or 10 years that we should not be addressing risk management and quality assurance like we did 10 years back. In fact, there's an opportunity, and the opportunity finds itself for smaller companies that don't have separate disciplines that they can farm out to these functions, but actually companies which have got a reduced budget and who need to rationalize the resources. And we find that if you do that, this is one of the accelerators, is to move from separate disciplines to a integrated risk management and quality assurance function. And the goal here is to address and identify potential issues before they become problems, so proactively manage them. And so let's talk about some practical examples about this. When we're talking about a program and a program that goes through stage gates, everybody will say, yes, we do quality assurance. At the stage gates, we check our quality. Well, that's great. But what are you checking? You're checking deliverables, artifacts. Often the function is performed by a PMO and a PMO who doesn't have the insights as into an SAP program and how the SAP program's tracking. So what we're advising here is that have the quality assurance and risk management function embedded inside the SAP program, understanding the SAP intricacies, such as if there is an increased amount of gaps, and the increased amount of gaps is over a critical business process, and you've got an increased amount of RISEPs over that integrated critical business process, then get your risk assessment involved and understand what your risk is and how to mitigate it. So, for example, set up automated testing in that space in order to ensure that any regression that comes through or any development that comes through is automatically tested. So these are opportunities that we're explaining, and there's a bunch of tools that can help you in this space. So by integrating the risk management and quality assurance function, you have a unified framework which is used to ensure that at each stage gate, not only are you doing the quality assurance checks with the deliverables and the artifacts, but you're also assessing risks such as budget, cost, scope overruns, business buy-in, change management. All of those are being identified and being dealt with. You're able to share the data across the disciplines, giving insights that both teams need, and in fact, even the program needs. And yes, you're doing an implementation now, and you're doing a large S4 transformation now, but in a couple of months or a couple of years or next year, you're going to be doing an upgrade or you're going to be doing a change. And so the more that you learn from these lessons and method of working, you're able to improve your delivery from end to end. So let's look at a number of benefits to integrating the quality assurance and risk management function. And let's take, for example, we'll just choose one of these on the screen, enhanced system reliability. So by focusing on quality assurance throughout the program, The final system is more reliable, stable, reducing downtime and support costs. Now, you might say, well, how's that possible? Well, we'll show you some tools that if you implement the tools as the project is taking shape, by the time the project goes live, you've got autonomous testing with RPA so that you have less resource burden on your BAU. You have less calls for support, less project downtime. You have a more stable platform and a more stable system because you're proactively catching your problems before they actually reach the user. So what does SAP have in this space that can assist you? So some tools and methodologies that SAP have in this space are, they've got the Activate methodology for a program that you are going to use. So when you're moving, for example, from ECC to S4, there are a number of Activate methodologies that you can follow, which are brilliant. Nice deliverables, nice actions, differentiation of work to teams, very good methodology. In addition to that, SAP Cloud ALM, which is going to be replacing Solman, is available. And Solman, by the way, yes, it should be expiring end of 2027 with extended maintenance to 2030. That extended maintenance, I believe, has just been announced to be free until 2030, which is great. But there's also SAP Focused Run, which is designed for businesses that need a high volume system and application monitoring. In addition to these standard SAP tools, Emphasis partners with a number of leading niche tools and providers around the world. And so we've called out a couple of them here that can help you in your program. One of them specifically is INT4. What a phenomenal tool set. So the INT4 team have developed a way to automate your integration testing. And so they simulate your third-party legacy systems. And it's not uncommon for a business to have 100 legacy systems or 100 third-party vendors that they integrate with. But you know how difficult it is to stand up all those integrations and to test them methodically, to run through SIT, then to think about having dual project landscapes and multiple suites of testing. And then you talk about the regression that you can have from one project landscape to another one. All of a sudden, if you don't automate your integration testing, you land up with two teams doing work and double the cost and double the regression and double the change. So what INT4 does is that they virtualize the systems and they automate the testing every single interface. And even after you go live, you can have continuous testing of your SAP environment every single night, or every single minute. So you go to sleep, you wake up in the morning, and all your integrations have been tested with the development that's been pushed through the system in the last hour or the last day. And so instead of having to proactively engage people to test things, you're able to identify any integration which has failed because of a mapping rule change or because there's a field that's been changed and there's an unexpected impact inside the quality system. So it allows you to remediate that. So in addition to INT4, another one which is a phenomenal tool is Basis. Basis Technologies have a fantastic tool called Active Control. And here we see a quote by Procter & Gamble as one of the customers who've said that they don't even believe they would be able to approach the implementation without Active Control being in the arsenal. And the reason for that is Active Control improves the managing of change throughout the enterprise. So it produces 70% less risk, avoiding your business disruption and your delays. It improves 95% more efficient, eliminating all that manual work and the regression. Fantastic tool. So in summary, how does Emphasis help you with the Activate methodology and the program that's in front of you now? In the discover phase, if we follow the Activate methodology, which has got 6 phases, in the discover phase, we run advanced AI tools to prepare your fact-based approach to the program that's in front of you. We don't estimate things and we don't imagine scenarios. Everything is fact-based. How many custom objects do you have? What are your business processes? What are your critical business processes according to what your users have been saying? And then we look at what can you archive? What can you keep? What are your opportunities? Then we look in your prepare phase. What can we do now up front to de-risk your program down the line, to lower the cost of the project? What can we do in the explore phase to analyze and run fit to standard and ensure that you've got the robust architecture using Lean IX and understand that you've got an architecture which is reliable and dependable, that you can create multiple roadmaps and multiple scenarios and what if scenarios. It also keeps you honest and keeps the program honest with deliverables. How many times do you enter a project and one of the key business case drivers is to switch off a legacy system or to move off of a legacy technology, and yet when you get into the program there's one or two excuses as to the reason why that can't be done. Well, by using a structured architecture roadmap with clear deliverables, you're able to implement your risk assessment and quality assurance at your stage gates and ensure that you are meeting your deliverables in line with your business case, ensuring that the stakeholders get the buy-in. So in the realization phase, we also help with proving and building strategic integration landscapes. We help by automating the testing to ensure that you can have reduced resources and you can have improved quality. We also help in the deployment phase by managing change and ensuring that you've got quality change throughout. And finally, in the run phase, we improve and we innovate in line with the architectural roadmaps and in line with the business strategy.